All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is Miss Humbert here, and we're going to be talking over our next note sheet, which is Unit 3, Learning Target 8. So today we're going to talk about multiplying square binomials. So let's take a look at what that means. So first of all, when you are multiplying a binomial squared, you write out the binomial being multiplied by itself. You cannot just square both terms. So before, when we had an exponent on the outside, we would write it as the coefficient and the letter, and you would multiply the exponents. Well, that's not going to work anymore, and the main reason being is that they're a plus sign. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So for this one, for example, for number 1, okay, we cannot just take that squared and distribute it in. That's a no-no, okay? This right here represents x plus 6 times x plus 6. So it's really x plus 6 squared. Now, in order for us to use this, then, we have to use the box method. X and 6 there, x and 6 there. So x to the first times x to the first, 1 plus 1 is 2. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times x is 6x. And 6 times 6 is 36. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 36. And now we can combine our middle two terms, and we get x squared plus 12x plus 36. And that's it. That's all that's new about this. It's not that you are learning something that's really different. The biggest thing is that you remember that it's the same thing being written twice. So for number 2, again, that's going to be x minus 2 times x minus 2. So then we're going to go ahead and line up that box method again. X minus 2, x minus 2. Well, x to the first times x to the first is x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So then I get x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. So then we need to combine our middle two terms. So negative 2x minus 2x is negative 4x plus 4. Okay, so that right there is our final answer for number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 3. So this one is going to be 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Remember, that's the same thing being written out twice. So here I'm going to have 2x, here I'm going to have 1, here 2x and 1. So when we're multiplying into that first box, we're going to take 2 times 2, which is 4. X to the first times x to the first, add those exponents and you get squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. 1 times 2x is 2x. And lastly, 1 times 1 is just 1. So we get 4x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 1. Then we're going to combine that middle term. So we get 4x squared, 2x plus 2x is 4x. And then plus 1. Next, taking a look at number 4. So for number 4, we have 3x minus 2, and then we're going to have it times 3x minus 2 again. So we're going to go ahead and set up that box. So 3x and negative 2, 3x and negative 2. 3 times 3 is 9. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and then we're going to keep the x. Same thing here. And what you guys might be noticing is these two boxes are always the same when we do it like this. And negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. So we have 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. So now we want to combine those middle two terms. So we have 9x squared, negative 6x minus 6x is negative 12x. Oops, and then we have 4. So again, this right here is my final answer. Let's take a look at what we're moving on to next. So if there's a coefficient or a monomial in front of our parentheses, then we're trying to multiply. What you need to do is multiply the polynomials using the box method, the binomials, and then we need to distribute that in. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these problems. So first thing I want to do is multiply out the box. So I have x plus 3, x minus 5. Right now I'm kind of pretending that that 2 there doesn't exist. I'm going to multiply my box first. X to the first times x to the first, that's going to give me x squared. X times 3, that's just going to be 3x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. So then I have x squared plus 3x minus 5x minus 15. So that gives me x squared minus 2x when you add 3x minus 5x minus 15. However, remember at the beginning there was that 2. So now that 2 needs to be distributed in to each of the term after I multiply. So notice that I combine my like term before I distribute in that 2. So 2 times x squared is going to give me 2x squared. 2 times a negative 2x, well 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and then we get x. 2 times a negative 15 is going to give us a negative 30. So this right here is our final answer. So the only difference now is that you have a number you need to distribute in at the end. Next, let's take a look at this one. So we're going to start and we're going to multiply those two binomials. So I'm going to take 2x minus 5 times x minus 3. So I have 2x times x, that's going to give me 2x squared because 2 times 1 is 2, x times x is x squared. 1x times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 5 is 15. So then I have 2x squared minus 5x minus 6x plus 15. So now I need to combine those middle two terms. And I get 2x squared. Negative 5x minus 6x is negative 11x plus 15. So now I see that 3 being multiplied on the outside. So I need to multiply that 3 on the outside, and I'm going to distribute it into each term. 3 times 2 is 6, and then we have x squared. 3 times negative 11 is negative 33. 3 times 15 is going to give us 45. Okay, so that's your final answer then for number 6. Alright, so let's take a look at this one. So now we're going to have to distribute in some x's, but that's okay. That's something we can handle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply this x plus 3 and x plus 4. So x and 3 go on top, x and 4 go on the bottom. Remember, if you flip-flop these two, that's okay. It'll still get you the same answer. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. 3 times x is 3x. 4 times x is 4x. And 3 times 4 is 12. So then I'm going to write out all of my terms. And I'm going to combine the middle two. So I have x squared plus 3 plus 4 is 7. Now remember, when you add like terms, you do not add the exponents. But now I'm taking this and I'm multiplying each term by x. And when I do that, the exponent on the x needs to go up by 1. So x squared times x to the first, 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's going to be x cubed. X to the first times x to the first, that's going to be x squared, and I keep that 7 there. And then lastly, 12 times x is 12x. So this right here is your final answer, x cubed plus 7x squared plus 12x. Alright, let's take a look now at number 8. So for number 8, again, you're going to use the box method. We're going to multiply 2x and 1 and x minus 3. Well, 2x times x is going to give us 2x squared. X times 1 is going to give us x. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. So then we have 2x squared plus x minus 6x minus 3. So now we can go ahead and combine our middle two terms. 2x squared, x minus 6x is going to be a negative 5x, and then we have minus 3. However, now that we've done that, we need to remember that originally we were multiplying by that x. So we need to make sure we do that down here. So we're going to multiply by that x, so we're going to distribute that x into each thing. Okay, so 2x squared times x to the first is x cubed. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. Oops, we need to remember our coefficient there. So that's negative 5x squared and then negative 3x. So that right there is your final answer. All right, let's take a look at number 9. So for number 9, we want to start by multiplying our binomials again. So again, using that box method, I have x and 4 and x and negative 9. Well, x times x is x squared. 4 times x is 4x. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times 4 is negative 36. So now I have x squared plus 4x minus 9x minus 36. Again, those two terms can be combined. So that's x squared. 4x minus 9x is going to give me a negative 5x. Again, notice that it doesn't become x squared. It stays x. And then it's 36. Now we need to take it and we need to multiply it by our GCF. So all of this needs to be multiplied by a 2x. So x to the first times x squared, that's going to give us x cubed, and then 2 needs to be there. 2 times a negative 5 is a negative 10. X to the first times x to the first is going to give us x squared. 2 times a negative 36 is a negative 72, and then we also have an x tacked onto it. And that right there is our final answer. Okay, so next let's take a look at the box method. So we have 2x and 3, 2x and 5. So 2 times 2 is 4. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. 2 times 3 is 6, and then we have an x. 5 times 2 is 10, and then we have an x. 5 times 3 is 15. So now we're going to go ahead and write out those terms. Combine the middle two. And then now we need to take this and multiply by 3x. So we're going to distribute that in. And when we do that, we're multiplying the coefficients and adding the exponents. 3 times 4 is 12. X to the first times x squared, add the exponents and you get x cubed. 3 times 16 is 48. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. 15 times 3 is 45. And then we also want to make sure we keep that x. So this right here is your final answer for number 10. Last but not least, let's take a look at this word problem. So it says a square has a side length of 2x plus 5. Well, here's the neat thing about the square. A square means that both sides are the same. Now, if you remember previous videos, that area is equal to length times width. So for the area of the square, we're really doing 2x plus 5 squared, since all our sides are the same. Now we know that that's the same as 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. So we can just use the box to multiply that out. 2x, 5, 2x, 5. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. 2 times 5 is 10, and then we have x. 5 times 2 is 10, and then we have x. 5 times 5 is 25. So writing that out, 5x squared plus 4x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 25. Combine those middle terms, 4x squared. 10 plus 10 is 20, and then we have 25. So this polynomial right there represents the area of the square. So that concludes your video for the day. Go ahead and show me your completed note sheet when you're done, and I will hand you the practice sheet. Thanks for listening.